Hey, Mike with Nerd Problems Gaming here, and today's video will be covering 5 new Nintendo eShop sale games worth buying, so let's get into it. Now before we jump in, all of these games are currently on sale in the Nintendo eShop, but depending on when you're watching this, some of these games may no longer be on sale. But even with that said, these are all great games and I definitely recommend playing them. So whether you can find them on sale or not, I think they're worth playing. But with that said, let's jump into the video. So the first game on the list is Knights of the Old Republic. Alright, so this game takes place 4,000 years before the original Star Wars trilogy, and Darth Malak, an apprentice of Darth Revan, is unleashing his Sith army against the Republic. The Jedi have been scattered, while others are turning to the dark side. And so it's definitely an unstable time throughout the galaxy, and you play as a character that's lost their memory and decide to take on Malak's forces. Now this is somewhat of a turn-based mixed with action RPG with a vast galaxy to explore. You'll be able to use tons of weapons and items from the Star Wars universe and create and build your own lightsaber throughout the game. On top of that, you'll learn a bunch of different force powers, but depending on the choices that you make throughout the game, you'll start to lean towards either the light side or the dark side. And depending on which side you align with can alter the ending of the game, whether you try and defeat Malak at the end, or you might try and take over Malak's empire and become a new Sith Lord. And so the gameplay is really fun and addicting. It might feel a little bit dated by today's standards, but for its time it was definitely one of my favorite RPGs in that game generation. So if you like Star Wars and RPGs and want to learn more about the past of the Star Wars universe, I definitely recommend checking out this game. Alright, so the next game on the list in a similar fashion is Knights of the Old Republic 2. And so this game takes place 5 years after the first game, but it's certainly still a standalone game where you wouldn't need to play the original, but you'll certainly get some story tying into this game if you have played the original Knights of the Old Republic. And so in this game, you're actually playing as a Jedi exile, and as you go along through the game, you're trying to restore your connection to the Force. And again, similar to the first Knights of the Old Republic, depending on what choices you make can push you towards the light side or the dark side of the Force. And throughout the game, you'll travel to various different planets, either helping the citizens in a way that fosters your light side, or again, sabotaging them and doing evil deeds, pushing you towards the dark side of the Force. Similar to the first game as well, it features some RPG elements and kind of a combination of a turn-based with an action RPG. There's a ton of standout characters that you'll meet along the way, and it has a great storyline as well. And so again, if you like Star Wars and RPGs, I definitely recommend Knights of the Old Republic 2. The next game on the list, following in the Star Wars footsteps, is Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Now this game takes place between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, and this game is a third-person action game, and you actually play as Darth Vader's secret apprentice, Starkiller. And so as you start off the game, you'll be hunting down the remaining Jedi that escaped Order 66, but slowly as you go along, you start to have a change of heart and actually end up planting seeds which foster the start of the rebellion. And so technically this game isn't canon anymore in the Star Wars universe once Disney took over, but it's still a really great story, and the action and gameplay is a ton of fun as well. And so the game has some RPG elements, so as you go along, you'll develop new lightsaber abilities as well as force powers, and there's somewhat of a skill grid that you can choose how you level up. And so those powers are all great and fun to unlock. And so again, if you like Star Wars, if you like action games, plus enjoy a great story, I definitely recommend Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Alright, the next game on the list is Dark Deity. Now this game is a tactical RPG that plays quite similar to the Fire Emblem series, but in this game you play as several young students in a military academy, but unfortunately the king makes some very unwise decisions and starts a war, and pulls out all of the students from the academy into the war, even though they haven't completed their training. And so all of these students have different specialties like mages, warriors, thieves, and much more. Your classic fantasy type characters, and as you go along you'll be able to level up and power up these characters and improve different weapon types that each character has. And so again, similar to that Fire Emblem feel, where some weapons have advantages and disadvantages while attacking different kinds of character types, you'll need to choose where you spend your upgrade tokens to improve the different abilities on each character. And again, you'll need to mix and match a variety of characters if you hope to win in this tactical RPG. Now the game is a little more forgiving than some of the old school Fire Emblem games, where it doesn't necessarily feature permadeath, but at the same time, when your characters do die in battle, they receive a wound which will negatively affect their character's stats throughout the rest of the game. So again, it's not as intense as the character being gone forever, but there certainly are consequences if you let some of your characters die throughout each mission. Also similar to the Fire Emblem series, there's a bunch of different conversations that characters can have between each other, which will boost their affinity for each other, making them play better together, and unlocking more of the story as you go along. Similar to the Fire Emblem series as well, characters will have a type of class change that they can go through, but you're faced with multiple different options when you do this, and so I think that boosts the replay value of the game, because you might want to experience it with different characters as you go through each mission, or even the same characters, but maybe you level them up and class change them differently through subsequent playthroughs. If you like tactical RPGs, I would definitely recommend Dark Deity. Alright, the next game on the list is Flynn Son of Crimson. Now this game is an action platformer, and you play as a young boy Flynn and his godlike dog Dex. And so as the game starts off, an evil villain drains Dex of her powers, and you need to go across the land defeating evil and saving the different villages throughout the world. And so the game does have some great action platforming. The controls are incredibly responsive. It features a cool pixel art style, as well as some light RPG elements. So as you go along in the game, you'll be able to upgrade various abilities your character has. Throughout the stages, you also encounter several different puzzle challenges, so it's not just action platforming, and you'll need to unlock different abilities to get past these challenging puzzles. The game isn't super long. It's probably going to take you around 10 hours, give or take, depending if you're a completionist or not, because one cool thing about the game is there's a ton of different secrets hidden throughout many of the levels, and so if you want to go through and unlock those and find those, that'll add some extra game time. But overall, it's a fun action platformer with great controls, and I definitely recommend it. But again, if you guys like this video, be sure to smash that like button as it really helps out the channel. But let me know in the comments below, have you played any of these games yet? Are you going to pick any of these up with this upcoming sale? Are there any other great games on sale right now that I missed? Let me know in the comments below. And if you guys like videos like this on video games, board games, and everything nerdy, check out one of our other videos here. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.